What up, 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 what up? What's going on? 49er Nation, where you at? 1, 2, 3. The crew is called BDP. I'm sorry. My bad. Yeah, I was just counting, one. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not okay. I'm sorry, America. I'm back. I'm back. I'm sorry. Okay. How are you? What's going on? Brooklyn Biz and Ball Sports Show. You know what we do in the house. It's Don. It's Don and Rod. We in the building. And listen, y'all, we got a lot to talk about. I want y'all to encourage my brother because my brother has always been, so faithful and so kind, even when he thrashed my Cowboys. But you know what, though, America, we going to try to show decent love today, too. All right. You know what I mean? Whatever you put out, it comes back. Let every man reap what they sow. And so we gonna try. At least I'm gonna try my best. You know what I'm saying? But nevertheless, we here. We need you to smash that like button. We need you to go ahead, share Facebook, YouTube. We appreciate y'all. All the love, comment, get that notification bell hit. So this way you see every time we got something popping, you'll be the first to know. It's the Live as Sports Show in the building. We in the house. Don, what's good with you, bro?
Oh man, it's all good. Listen. Everybody that watches the show understands this is why the Cowboys will not have long-term success. Because he reflects Cowboy fans. When they win, the highs are super high, right? And even when they lose, they don't accept the loss. We're going to be, as 49er fans, we're going to be gracious in victory as well as defeat. Listen, we just hit a bad stretch of games. Bad stretch, bad loss. No, it's not going to be any excuses. It's not going to be, any Coreyisms. It's not going to be no Rodneyisms. It's going to just be acceptance. That is how you actually can improve. You accept your faults, and then you move on and you work to correct them, man. But it's going to be a good show. Okay. I'm going to give it to you just how I see it, man. But without further ado, man, let's get into it.
Let's go.
Okay, listen, it's been tough over the last 3 weeks watching how the Niners, we started off the season 5-0. And since then, we have, between the defense and the offense, we just have not been able to put together a complete game. We were averaging 30 points for the first 5 games, over 30 points for the first 5 games of the season. So far in our 3 losses, only 17 points. Turnovers. Our defense, our secondary has been getting torched. And so if there was ever a time where a team needed a bye, sometimes when a team is super hot, you're like, man, this bye may actually slow us down because then, people's focus, they may go out and go out of town or vacation or do a little, siesta. And when they come back, their focus is not as pinpoint. Our team definitely needed the bye. This is an opportunity for us to kind of get right, recalibrate, and really try to make the improvements that we need for the stretch run. Am I discouraged? Do I think our team is not Super Bowl bound? No. That has not, I have not changed my ultimate outcome of where I think our team will be in February. But I will say, just like anything else, losing is part of life. You have to be able to pivot when things don't work out the way you perceive them. You have to pivot. And so our team going into the bye, I think we have definitely some things to correct. The way our defense is focused, Brock Purdy will hopefully get Debo and Trent Williams back. That will only help our offense as a whole. And then I think we'll get back and we'll right the ship and we'll get back to our winning ways. What do you say?
Well, Americo, is this a sports show or is this a philosophical class? Are we doing psychology today? I didn't know. I hear my boy Don talking about in life, we win, we lose, we overcome trials and tests, and it makes us stronger. And he's just taking us through this whole, diatribe of the philosophical makeup of man and how, we can overcome life challenges and so forth. Listen, D, okay? Listen, D. Number one, let me correct something here. I openly and humbly accepted my beatdown when the 49ers beat us. Let me make that clear, okay? I didn't make any excuses. In fact, I went through line upon line, precept upon precept, how bad Dallas was in that game and what we didn't do. So I was very, very upfront, honest, and acknowledged the fact that we caught a thrashing. And in fact, it's amazing because the 49ers nor the Cardinals have won a game since they beat Dallas. So what's the moral of the story? Don't beat Dallas because you may not ever win again. But here's the thing. The truth is that I was watching some of the sports shows, so I'm gonna give some shout outs to some of the sports shows. I looked at, and I don't get a chance to watch them a lot during the day because I'll be so busy with some other things. But I watched Skip today, and I watched Speak today. I watched First Take and a couple of these things, and what seems to be the common theme here, D, is a couple things. The Niners. Yeah, y'all need a bye week, no question about it. But not so much a bye week as much as it is to really look at what you guys are going to need to do defensively. I don't even think Steve Wilks is going to keep his job before this year is out if your defense continues to play the way it's played, okay? There were some very good takes I found very interesting, okay? Now, I always come up with my own stuff. Let me just make that clear. But I'm not going to commit plagiarism. I'm going to just piggyback on some of the points that were made earlier today on some of the shows, and I thought it was a good take. I heard Acho say, he talked about Steve Wilks and the lack of pressure that they brought against Cincinnati, but yet there was pressure in the Minnesota game, which clearly burnt them and beat them. And what's happening is that the way his defense is, which for whatever reason, I'm not sure why Steve Wilks even changed his defense and would want to kind of come away from the blueprint that both Saleh and DeMeco Ryans established for this team the last 4 years or so, to go into something that just doesn't make sense and it doesn't play to your strength. Your backside, and I said this to you since last year, D, your backside has always been your most compromising unit of your defense, and it's exposed.
Just a quick pause.
Pause what?
It's the backside.
Yeah. My bad. Pause. Yeah, that's a major pause. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Amen.
Can't get too deep into your take.
Right. I was getting into my take. I might have had more pauses that I kept going. So yeah, the secondary is the weakest link. Ward is trash. The other corner, I don't even know what the other corner is. He's trash. They're all trash. And the fact is, you're not getting the pressure that you guys are accustomed to getting with Bosa and those guys up front. And I always said the Niners defense and their strength is in the front seven. That's not what y'all are playing to. And so the defense is giving up points. The offense is not scoring points. Purdy now can no longer manage games. Purdy now has to step up and be the quarterback. Now, can he be that? Can he step up and be that quarterback that can actually put a team on his back and win? Because he's never, though he has a winning streak as a starting quarterback, but I'll just be frankly honest with you. He didn't win those games for the Niners. He did nothing to win any of those games for the Niners. It was Debo, Kittles, McCaffrey, Ayuk, those boys in the front line, Trent Williams, those boys won games, and the defense, okay? Purdy didn't have to do anything, just like Dak in his rookie season. It was Zeke, it was the offensive line, it was a relatively decent defense. That's how Dak went 13-3, okay? Purdy now has to step up, and that's the same thing. And Donald, I told you this. And I'm not saying that the Niners season is over. By far, it's not. No question. I still think y'all are the better team. And when Debo gets back and Williams gets back, y'all it'll be proven that I still believe. And look at me, a Cowboy.
No. I don't want you to go both. Don't be on the fence.
No, I'm not on the fence.
Don't be on the fence because you're going back and forth.
No, I'm just getting back. No, but I am going to thrash you for your 3 L's. I mean, right now y'all are playing trash. But I'll admit, and you hear me say this, when you get healthy, then you'll see what
this is how you can then and you did accept your loss, but this is how, like, in certain instances, yes, we're supposed to call it like we see it. But when it comes time for head to head, pick your team. Don't pick my team and then say, well,
No, that's
you
not
know.
true. That's
So
not
then
what
when
we
you
do.
lose,
America, we are a sports show. So as a sports show, we gotta be objective. Like nobody we are fans of our teams. He likes the Nets and the Niners. I like Cowboys and Lakers, right? But at the end of the day, right, for us to have some kind of objectivity and credibility, right? Like if the Cowboys are like 2-11, I'm not gonna pick them to win the next game, right?
That's
I
obvious.
Mean, right. So what I'm saying is I'm going to go with the better team, but in my heart, I'm rooting for my Cowboys. And if we win, I'm talking trash because that's what winners do.
That's fake. That's fake.
But
pick,
it's not
when
fake.
we go head to head, pick the Niners. If I'm going head to head against the Cowboys, I don't care if we're 1-50. I'm going to pick the Niners.
Then that's not being
then it'll
objective.
be an upset.
Then you're not going to be. Your take is not going to have any realism to it. No one's going to listen to what you got to say.
So as a Cowboys fan, you're the resident Cowboys fan. If you constantly pick every other team, but then when your team wins,
I only picked against Cowboys
gloat.
Twice this year.
It doesn't make sense.
Dallas twice this year. Oh, look at my balloons. Look, see? I only picked against Dallas twice this year. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that, America.
Even Apple knows.
No.
It's a clown show. That side of the screen is a clown show.
I'm going to take my reactions off because I don't want to give
take your reactions off.
I don't want to give him no ammunition,
It doesn't make sense. You can't pick against your team week after week.
No, and then when your team picked against Dallas twice. That was it. Against the Chargers. Because I really didn't believe Dallas was going to really be able to come back. I had concerns based on the way we were playing, certain aspects of our units and the way we were looking, particularly on our front line. We weren't running the ball well, and we're still not running the ball well. So I felt like there were some things there that made me say, I want Dallas to win, but I don't think we'll win. We haven't beaten y'all. Y'all still own us. So if Dallas was to play the 49ers tomorrow, right?
We'd beat you again.
No,
it doesn't matter if we drop 3 in a row. We would beat you again.
I don't know.
Now, he's feeling himself.
Now with the team you got now, because we're going by facts.
This is what
the
feeling yourself. This is what feeling yourself is right here.
Listen,
because they're winning, and
we won.
And I just want to add this so that people are aware, right?
Okay.
And I think Aaron Rodgers said this quite some years back. Okay. Relax, Niner fans.
Oh my God,
we're not out of it.
Birdie's not saying relax. He's not Aaron Rodgers.
I'm saying it. We're not out of it. Let me just give you a little historical context.
Oh, here he goes.
In 2020,
listen to this, America.
Excuse me. Let me. Can I put this out there, please? Since you're plagiarizing other people's takes, let me just put this out there. In 2020, through the first 8 games, we were 4-4 under Saleh. Since he's referencing every defensive coordinator we've ever had, that was 2020. Through 8 games, we were 4-4. In 2021, DeMeco Ryans, we were 3-5 through 8 games. DeMeco in 2022 through 8 games, we were 4-4. In 2023, under Wilkes, we are 5-3 through 8 games. And if you, yes, we didn't win it all, but we certainly got deeper than the Cowboys. So I'm not concerned through the 8 games. Yes, losing 3 games and going into your bye is terrible. But can we right the ship? Do we have a losing record? Yes. No. Can we right the ship?
You can
do we have a winning record?
Do you have a winning record?
And no, we don't have a losing record. So we are fine.
Yeah.
We are still leading in our division. We are still going to represent the NFC. And so I'm not concerned with it. But what I will say,
I'm going to tell you why you need
what
to be
I will
concerned.
say this.
Finish your take.
You have the game, and as of course you have mentioned since last year that your only focus was the 49ers. We're the standard, and we can clip that. We're the standard, and if we lose this, we have no Super Bowl chances. And you got blown off the table. And all of that has happened. But the Eagles the Eagles are 7-1. Quiet as it's kept.
What that mean?
They're 7-1. You play them this week. You play them in week 9.
They're only a game ahead of us. What is that? And then if we beat them, we'll be in first place.
If
we beat them, we'll be in first place.
No, you will not. No, you will not be. What's your record right now?
We're 5-2. We're 5-2.
If they're 7-1, even if you beat them, they're 7-1.
D.
You will not be in first place, even if you beat them.
D, we would still be in first place because we got the head-to-head win against them. And we would still win. They haven't played more games than us. We still play the same amount of games. That would be two losses for them.
This is not a philosophical show, but this is we do have to interact. We do have to interject mathematics in it. If a team is 7-1 and a team, what is your record right now?
Okay, let's look at this so we can get an understanding here. Okay, the Philadelphia Eagles are 7-1. Okay, right? Dallas is 5-2.
So if you win, you would be 6-2, right?
We would be 6-2. Yes.
And if the Eagles lose, what would they be?
Okay, they would be 7-2.
Okay, is that better? Right. Is 7-2 better than 6-2?
Okay, my bad.
Okay, no problem. No problem. Sometimes we gotta come full circle. So in any case,
cool. Go ahead.
In your best day, it's filthy rags. You will still be below.
But they played 8 games. We only played 7. You got to remember, we had a bye. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. That's the point I was trying to make.
But they're still going to be ahead of you.
We only played 7. No, they would not still be because of the fact that and by record, but they played another game. So when they get on their bye, okay, so technically we would still have, it would either be tied or we'll have a half a game on them because of the fact that they still played one more game. They haven't had their bye yet. So they're going to have a bye coming up. Right now they're 7-1, right? That's 8 games that they played. We're 5-2. We only played 7. So you can't. They don't get to just be. They're not in first place if they lose to us next week because they still got a bye that they got to still come up. They got to come up with. So we would still have them by a half a game, even though they have a better win record than us. But by the loss, the first place is determined by the loss column, not the win column. The loss column determines who's in first place. So we would have to we both would be two losses, and we would have
2 losses.
Right, but we have the head-to-head. We have the head-to-head so far in them. So then, therefore, we would be the division leaders at that particular moment. Even though they got a win, even though they've got one more win record than us, but that's because they played an extra week than us.
I don't think that's accurate, but that's cool. I don't think that's accurate. I think that's some cowboy logic where even if we lose, we still win.
Right.
Okay. No.
If we win, we're in first place. Now, if we lose, then we're not, because then that means we got 3 L's, and they would only have 1. But if they lose, then we now have both 2 L's, and they still have another game that they're going to sit out because they haven't had their bye yet. They now have played more games than Dallas. That's what it, because they haven't had their bye yet.
So we're going to get to this in our next show, but I just want to get a early prediction. Because you said all year that you're not afraid of the Eagles.
I'm not afraid of the Eagles.
Now I know that
and I'm picking Dallas to win against the Eagles. Yes, I'm picking Dallas.
Okay, good.
Oh, yes, I am. I'm picking
and I don't
think that they're a better team than us. I don't.
And I think Jalen Carter is experiencing I think he's getting an MRI on his back, which is fortunate for you guys. A little unfortunate for
us. No, because we could beat the Eagles. We can and we will beat the Eagles. We can. And you need to be concerned about those 3 losses and how your quarterback has to be able. He's looking bad, D. Your quarterback is not looking good, okay? And he now has to go to the next level.
What team looks good in a loss? We look bad. I'm not making any excuses. All 3 phases, we have not played up to our potential. But can I just say this, as you're on your white horse, your team, this is the first time since I think week 1 that your offense, because remember, we had a question on the last show and we questioned if you could add a player before the trade deadline, would you rather have someone on the defense or the offense? And I explained to you that so far this season, the defense has been the reason why you guys have won, not the offense. The offense is putrid, and it's still putrid.
It's not putrid.
It's the first
putrid.
The first time since week 1 that your offense has scored more than 2 touchdowns. Your defense, even yesterday, you had a pick 6.
We had 2 touchdowns last week against the Chargers on offense. What do you mean? We talking about? We scored. What are you talking about? We scored more than 1 touchdown last week.
I said more than 2. More than 2 touchdowns.
Oh, more than 2. Okay.
See, once again, the Cowboys got what we had, 2.5. Like, it's your offense over, and you admitted to this. Now, of course, when you're winning everything, the lines get blurred, and I understand this. Your offense is still not playing up to par. Your defense has been elite, and I've given it credit for being elite. But your defense is carrying your team as a whole.
So your defense hasn't carried your team as a whole for most of the last couple years?
We're talking this year. The defense has not carried us this year. Honestly, so far, it's been the offense that's been carrying us.
Oh, no, because your defense was playing lights out in the beginning of the season. You won 5 in a row. Your defense was playing still really good football.
We were playing good football. We were playing okay football. Not as good as we could have been.
The problem is your offense hasn't been scoring. So when your offense ain't scoring, you're actually putting more pressure on your defense. Your offense got stalled against Cleveland and then the subsequent games after that. Y'all haven't done anything since Dallas offensively. So that's why y'all's defense is really being hit, because now teams, y'all can't score.
But we're not putting any pressure. We're not putting pressure on the opposing team's quarterback. Like, really, our sacks should be up by now, given. And I will say this. Someone had brought up this take on one of the shows, and I agree with it. Nick Bosa sitting out and trying to get his bag, which I'm happy he got paid. That hurt him because he looks okay, but he's not the dominant player that he has been over the last couple of years. And so maybe he's going to work himself back into that dominant, edge rusher that can really, because really 2.5 sacks, maybe 3. I think he might have had a sack this last game. That's not going to cut it. When you're getting paid the way he's getting paid, that's not good enough. So I think overall, there is talk that there might be a splash addition before the trade deadline, which I don't know. Maybe they're going to look into this talk. They're going to look into getting a corner. Perhaps if we get Patrick Surtain, that would be a great addition. Maybe another edge rusher. I don't know what they're going to do, but there's talk about Chase from the Washington Commanders. There might be Brian Burns from Carolina. They love giving us their best players. So we'll see what happens. That might be something significant. And of course, the rich get richer. I think at this point, we can right the ship. Our buy wasn't too deep into it, and it wasn't too early. So I think I'm optimistic that moving forward, we'll be able to get back. We do have some really good games coming ahead. It doesn't like we have a super easy schedule. We have, some really good games moving forward, and I think we will play better. I think we will play better, and I think we will definitely win. And ultimately, shout out to CMC. He broke a record or tied a record. I think it was 17 consecutive games with a touchdown. So that was impressive, but individual stats only matter, but so much. Once again, CMC, we're interested in you playing dominant the way you have played the entire season. We're interested in that in February. But
I think though, you got to be a little concerned. I think his injury is slowing him up. If CMC is not making those pop plays, it's a problem. 49ers live off pop plays. Y'all are a yak team with Debo.
So you're suggesting we don't have any substance. Like, you're saying pop plays. No.
No.
You're trying to make it seem gimmicky. We're not gimmicky.
No, you're not gimmicky. No, that's not gimmicky. I'm not talking about the plays itself. You're not running trick plays. I'm talking about guys that can get the ball. You can throw a screen to CMC and he can take it to the house 80 yards. Debo can take a 75-yard screen and take it to the house, because that's predominantly how explosive the offense is after the catch. So
I don't think it's changed.
I don't see CMC. He hasn't looked explosive since his injury, since he got hurt in the Cleveland game. He hasn't looked. I mean, he's been pretty much neutralized.
Is he? What do you mean pretty much neutralized?
He's been neutralized. I mean, he didn't have a great game yesterday. He only had 12. He had 12 carries, 54 yards on average. That's over 4 yards to carry. But he had one of those was a 16-yard run. So I mean, most of that came.
And how much receiving? Because he does both. He's he would be, if he went to the Cowboys, he'd be a number 1 receiver, a number 2 receiver.
Oh, you know what? No.
I'm just joking. But what did he do? What did he do in receiving yards? I mean,
I'll tell you right now.
You have to talk in totality, not just
Well, yeah, because we understand that he
does both.
back.
He's not exclusively a running back. He has great hands. He can catch out of the backfield.
Okay, so
it wouldn't surprise me if he had.
He had 54 yards rushing, and then and he had 64 yards receiving.
So what are we talking about?
Yards.
Yeah, that seems like he's on the downward spiral. He's doing just fine. He averages over 100 all-purpose yards every single game and a touchdown. That would you take a CMC on your team?
Absolutely.
Would you trade him out for Tony Pollard right now?
Absolutely.
Okay, then so what are we talking about?
All I'm saying, D, is that you're looking at the stats, and I get it, and that's what he does. But when you look at the games itself and you see what the 49ers have not been able to do these last 3 weeks, y'all have not been able to be explosive. Y'all, even when against the Dallas game, all them scores and what y'all did, flea flickers, guys throwing the ball in their back, catching it behind Harlem Gold, trying to sky hooking it over the Kittles in the end zone. See, but all that, y'all ain't doing none of that in the last 3 weeks. You see what I'm trying to say?
Because we are missing some players. We are missing
you're missing two players. You're missing two key players. And Debo is a factor, and obviously Trent Williams definitely is a factor. And D, let me say this. I never said that the 49ers are over. Y'all gave yourself enough cushion. You won 5 in a row. You 5-3. You still win your division. All of what you said, I agree with. When y'all get healthy, we'll see. But let me tell you something. You're not going to continue to win with the defense you got now in terms of how y'all playing that defense. Because they said even Kyle Shanahan was in the defensive meetings. He's never been in the meetings. Right?
As he should.
Right. Well, he never had to do that before.
Because we have this is the thing, and I think that they're going to make a correction. I don't think Wilkes is going to lose his job per se, but this is pretty much this is the same. We actually have some key additions. Hargrave is an addition. We have better players arguably than we had last year, and over the course of Saleh's administration and DeMeco Ryans, part of it could be that, of course, every defensive coordinator wants to put his own stamp on it in hopes of perhaps getting a head coaching job. Right. If you didn't just because what happens is people always say, oh well, you just fell in your lap. Yeah. And all you had to do is plug and play as far as the coaches are concerned. So someone wanting to put their stamp on it can sometimes upset the apple cart. And I think Kyle Shanahan, I think they need to say, hey, no. This is what's been working. If it's not broke, don't fix it.
Right.
We got to continue to correct the ship and then, hey, replicate success. You don't have to, everything doesn't have to be changed or, well, I'm doing this and I got to make sure that they see who I am. No. And I think that will be corrected. And as a head coach, that is his job. He's obviously he manages the other coaches. He manages the team as a whole, and it's his job to make sure each phase, every team, every coach that is in charge corrects that and says, hey, if our deficiency is this is our payroll, this is the expectation of our players, and we're not meeting the mark. Hey, you have to hone in on that particular department that's not rocking, and the defense isn't rocking to its potential. And I look forward to it making the correction. Shout out to my man Cornell, who was in the chat, who joined. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. So you guys got it. You're feeling high. Let's really quickly talk about Dallas shining. Dallas looked good. I think CeeDee Lamb. I think that. Shout out to CeeDee Lamb.
Go ahead and say it.
Shout out to CeeDee Lamb. He looked like a number one receiver. That's what a number one receiver should look like.
That's because he is. But go ahead.
I'm saying, listen.
Just admit.
Was it in question? Let me ask you a question. Were people questioning whether he was a number one receiver or not? Let me put it there. Forget me. In the world over, Were they questioning the fact whether he was the number one receiver or not? Yes or no?
Yeah, they was only questioning whether he was the number one receiver or not because he wasn't getting enough touches this year.
Okay,
he was an All-Pro last year, and he had over 100
this year. We're
receptions
talking
last
about
year.
this year. We're talking
No,
about
but what
this
I'm
year.
saying is he proved that he's the number one. Even last year, he was the number one, and that was without Cooper. So he
Okay.
was the number one threat. And of that, so how can anyone say he's not a number one and he's still proving it this year?
So players,
he's the number one.
Players never fall off from year to year.
Yeah,
We're
they
talking
do,
this year.
But he
this year, he had not been looking like a number one receiver.
Because he wasn't
Whether it was
targeted. That's all.
Okay,
It wasn't
so-
because he was dropping balls.
so
Or
if I say-
he
so-
was being
so-
just taken out of games.
So my question is, if I say he looked like a number one receiver, and that part of that was because Dak gave him the touches and gave him the targets that a number one receiver commands, why are you getting defensive about it?
Because because what I'm saying is you were saying
I'm giving him his kudos. Shout out to CeeDee Lamb. He looks like a number one receiver.
That's what a number one. Okay, but I'm saying
that's what a number one receiver looks like.
Whether he's a number one or not, and you're saying that's what a number one receiver should look like. But
You command those. Okay, well, whether he is or not, he looked like
the part you won't admit. Is he a number one receiver? Yes or no?
Yes, yeah. Yesterday he was. They gave him the targets he deserved as a number one receiver.
God. Right, because he is a number one receiver.
Cowboy fans can't take success. You guys cannot take success. I'm giving you credit for him being a number one receiver.
But I'm asking you a question about a number one receiver being right.
That was coupled with the fact that Dak respected him as a number one receiver. They gave him the targets that AJ Brown. He wasn't even getting Devontae Smith targets per game. So what I'm saying is, if he's getting the targets, that's what a number one receiver should get. He should be respected as a number one receiver, and they gave him the targets.
Absolutely.
So why can't you accept that?
No, I accept that, but I don't accept you saying that he wasn't a number one because of his play. You never said all this time we argued about CD being a number one because of the fact that he wasn't getting targets.
What I said was they didn't
is
trust
a better
him.
receiver than him, and Ayuk is the number one over.
Well,
Ayuk
is in my eyes, Ayuk is a better receiver. But I will say this: that hasn't changed. But I will say this: remember, we had the discussion about Keyshawn Johnson's comments. Maybe they didn't trust him. That's why they were giving Gallup more targets. That was the discussion.
That made and that's foolishness on Dallas. But go ahead, yeah.
So when you think of every number one receiver in the league, bona fide, right?
Yeah, right.
Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs.
Yeah.
They are getting 10, 12 targets a game.
Because
if your third receiver, right, Gallup, right, or second receiver is getting 10, 11 targets and the quote-unquote number one is getting 7 or 8, that speaks volumes about either the trust, either the fact that he's not getting separation, he's not getting open. There are a lot of factors into it. So now that they gave him the targets that a number one receiver deserves, he met that opportunity and his skill connected, and it showed. Shout out to him for that.
Right.
What's up, Jason? Thank you for joining the show.
Thank you, Jay, for joining.
Listen,
okay.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it moving forward. If he gets those type of targets and he makes good on them, then he's a number one.
But
if he doesn't,
number one. That's my point. I'm trying to tell you. He's been a number one, even without the targets that he was supposed to have been getting since the season began. Did not nullify him being the number one. Why do you think people were asking the question? Why is CD not getting the targets? He's gotten 21 targets in the last 2 games. You know how many balls he's caught in the last 2 games? 19. 19 of the 21 targets that came his way, he caught the balls. CD is balling, and he was balling last year, and he balls every time he does. Dak's QBR, okay, is his completion percentage is 80% when he throws to CeeDee Lamb. His numbers are exponentially greater than any other receiver. Because Mike McCarthy is a bonehead.
Why wouldn't that connection? At this point,
Mike McCarthy
Dak makes $40 million. Dak can't audible out of a play if he thinks CD is his best option.
But if you see, he's doing that now. Dak is really, you can see now, taking command of the offense. Plays are coming in every time he's at that line of scrimmage and shotgun. No, he's done it before, but I think what happened in the bye week And after the 49er game, they had conversations, and this is what was coming out of Dallas, that Dak had to have conversations with Mike McCarthy. McCarthy changed the offense from what Kellen Moore had.
You hear that, nutso? The boy here says he owes me. He owes me.
He had a conversation with Nutso, and he realized
Well,
that
yeah,
now
he realized
CD
that
is the
conversation
number
with
one
Nutso.
receiver. So
And
wait a
CD
minute.
But
So
he had to
you're
work
telling
the
me
off-
that the
Yeah.
number one receiver and the $40 million quarterback,
Uh-huh.
it took till week 8, because you already told me that Dallas.
It took the week 8 to even week 6 to even realize you had Brandon Cook on your team. I mean, he didn't come alive until the Charger game.
But a lot of that falls on Dak, because at the
That's
end of the
not
day,
Dak.
he makes the decisions.
No, he does not. He's not that coach. He's not the play caller. Mike McCarthy calls the plays. So he's running the plays that Mike McCarthy has, but he's selling Mike, these plays are not working. And you want to run the ball. Dallas right now is horrible running the ball. I don't know if it's the blocking scheme. Pollard just is not as quick and not
Yeah,
in
he's
the
not
holes,
looking.
but he's not
He's
we're
not
running the
explosive.
ball
He's
well.
not looking. He's not
We're not.
looking.
No,
And they're not utilizing him properly.
And they don't, because Dallas doesn't know how to, because that's Mike McCarthy for you. So Dak is audible out of all that now. And the main thing is, I'll say this last quick point on this: Dak is using his legs. That's what's got Dallas offense really rolling the last 2 weeks, in the last 2 games. Rather.
So
It's
quick
his
question,
legs.
and we're gonna move on.
Uh-huh.
You're saying that when Dallas wins, it's
Yeah.
because of Dak, but anything that holds them back is because of Mike McCarthy. You can't, that's not
what
fair.
I said. That's not what I said. You asked about CeeDee Lamb. I'm telling you why Lamb didn't get targets, because of Mike McCarthy was not scheming
When
him.
CD
not-
gets
not-
X
not
amount
putting
of
him in
targets,
position
what
to
is
get.
your how does that equate to wins and losses?
We
That
win every time
connection.
when CD has a big game. When
And
CD
if
has
he
big
doesn't
games,
get
we
the
win.
ball, you said
Yeah.
it's because of Mike McCarthy. Did you say that?
No, I'm saying when he's not getting the ball, not targeted the ball. When he's not getting targets.
Yeah, well, he's a receiver.
Well,
It's
what
going to
does
be
that mean?
targets.
Well, right, no, but I'm saying, but if he's only getting 4 targets in a game, then D, that's not on
Right.
CD.
So
or
is it
Dak.
on?
That's
So it's on Mike
the-
McCarthy.
It was on McCarthy, but now
Didn't I
McCarthy
just say
gets
that?
credit. No, but you're saying the reason why we win or lose is either because of Dak or McCarthy. We're not talking about winning losses. We're just talking about CD being a number 1 receiver.
Right, but your success is tied to the connection between CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott, right?
Right.
If
That's
you
what
have
makes
an
him a number 1.
80%,
Right.
if you have an 80% completion rate between a wide receiver and a quarterback, if
Right.
he's not getting the ball, if he's not getting 10, 12, 15 targets a game, is that on Mike McCarthy or is that on Dak Prescott?
That's on
I'm
Mike
asking
McCarthy.
you.
That would always
Okay, so when you guys do it, Mike McCarthy should get the credit for your success. And if
No.
you don't,
No. What gets the credit is the fact that no, D, you're taking it out of context. Yes, that's credit that he's looking
I'm
to
taking
make sure
your
that
words.
the offense gets him the ball, but the
Brother
argument
Bain,
we
these
were
are your
talking
words.
about- Right.
This ain't no jive, right? Malcolm X.
Malcolm X, right? These are your words, right?
These are your words. Right. But okay, cool.
All right. We're going to
So-
move. I know we got a short show today, but go
Yeah,
ahead.
but okay,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, so
we'll
we
see.
got to
So
unpack that a little
when
bit more. Okay.
ultimately when the Cowboys win, it's because of Dak. When the Cowboys
Oh,
lose,
God.
it's because of
Man.
Mike McCarthy. No problem.
We'll let this
Got it.
slide for that. Well, America, I'll clarify that on the next show. Don't worry.
Right, our
I'll
next
clarify
show, we're
that.
going to really deep
Yeah,
dive
we'll
into
we'll
actually is
clarify
going to
that.
win because this is a really big week. I mean, it's unfortunately
this
we're
is
not,
it. Oh,
we're
yeah.
not playing it this week, but
No,
we got
Y'all
Miami.
beating Jacksonville.
playing.
Y'all beating Jacksonville, LD. I know I'm jumping
We're on the
ahead.
bye.
I know what
We're on the
said.
bye.
Y'all on the bye.
We're on-
Oh, you don't want to talk
we'll-
about it.
We
You don't want-
got 2 shows to talk about that. We got Miami playing the Chiefs, and the
Yeah.
Chiefs look terrible. The Chiefs look terrible. So that is going to be that is more gloom and doom for Miami. They are going to get right on Miami. That's my prediction, but we'll deep dive into that on our next show. And then we got the Eagles, the Cowboys playing the Eagles.
Game of the week.
Whew. Oh
Game of the
man,
week, babe. Yes,
that's gonna
sir.
be big. That's gonna
Yes,
be big.
sir. Yes, sir.
Scrap, we gotta have
Sir.
Scrap on the show. We gotta
Got to
get
scrapped.
it going.
Scrapped. Get scrapped.
You gotta
I need
get
to
scrapped,
Yeah,
'cause this
let's
is
get
gonna
scrapped on
be-
game.
This is
Let's
gonna
get him
be
on
big.
before the game, after the game.
It's gonna be epic.
Yes,
It's
listen,
gonna be epic.
It's gonna be on, bro. It's gonna be on.
Okay, real quick.
Yes.
Kirk Cousins, devastating injury, man. Devastating. He was playing very, very well.
Yeah.
And he tore his Achilles. And so the question is, at this point, we know that Jefferson's supposed to be coming back, I think, within the next 2 weeks. He was on IR. What do you do at this point? Because you're not technically out of it. Will they make a splash play and try to trade for a quarterback? Do they have someone within their ranks? Will they try to get maybe Case Keenum from what I think he's like a third string somewhere, but he's familiar with the offense. I don't know, but it's tough.
You got to get it.
Kirk Cousins, you wasn't going to keep him anyway, and unfortunately, it's an injury. Kirk Cousins was going to be playing for another team anyway, right? But then you're questioning right now because Justin Jefferson's coming back. He's looking for a big payday. What are you going to do with him, right? Because is it worth bringing him back and trying to play? But then if you play, you need quarterback play to make it worth your while because you're very much in the playoffs. They were on they beat us. They won yesterday. They were looking pretty good. So what do you do?
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, they could probably trade for Trey Lance. that might be something.
Jason said Cam on the practice squad.
I guess
no way.
Cam Newton.
No.
Nah, Cam is washed. Yeah, I don't think Cam is.
Cam is done.
Yeah, he's done.
Done.
It's podcast.
He's right as we speak. He's getting a hole cut in a fedora for the lock to come out. He's done. Cam is finished. Scrap heap. No way. No way.
Cam is done.
There are other quarterbacks that you would either take off of maybe most second strings are under contract, but there might be some potential players that are
it just depends. I mean, I don't know what this kid looked like that came in yesterday. He didn't look like much of anything. Maybe you got to give him a week of preparation.
Because getting thrusted into it is a little bit different.
That's different. So, I wouldn't hold his performance against him on yesterday, but I think if he gets maybe a week or so, and what's his name, McConnell, the coach there, if he can get him, Kevin McConnell, I think his name is, if he can get him right, get him prepared, then they might be okay. You never know. See, young kids, you got to go with the young guys now. I mean, if you can, like you said with what's his name, Keenum, you could probably get him. He knows the system a little bit, so he might work. But what are you willing to give up? You know what I'm saying? How much?
Right.
You make a great point. How much are you willing to invest in this season? They're not going to go anywhere. Even if you make the playoffs, right? Think about it. You're not going anywhere,
right?
But
so
you
at
can't
this
tell
point,
that to your fan base, though. So.
No, you can't. You got to look like you're fully vested. At this point, I mean, it's trade deadline. We'll see when teams start to fire sale. Then that they're probably packing it in. They'll try to be as competitive as possible. And Justin Jefferson at this point, what's his interest? What is his commitment to coming back? If you're not coming back, why re-injure yourself? And they have not committed to you long term. So he may think,
he's still under contract. He still got to play. I mean, if he's healthy,
still under contract, but he has a hamstring, and he can say, "I don't feel well." I mean, who else is under contract? There's a lot of players that are under contract. What's his name but if your team from a standpoint of Minnesota might say, okay, we bring you back, you get hurt again. Now at this point, when you lose Kirk Cousins,
you're talking about from a Minnesota perspective. Yeah, okay.
And for him, and for his purposes, he's under contract, but he's looking at other receivers that have gotten big paydays. He has more than earned his money. So he's looking for a payday. But if you're coming off an injury, you always have to be careful if the franchise has not, given you the money and obviously they're going to pay him. They're not going to trade him away. They're going to pay him. But if you're coming back to a team that is done, right? For all intents and purposes is done. What is the rush to come back?
Yeah, you just gotta be careful. You don't want to send the wrong message to your team, to your fan base. If you give the impression that, look, we're gonna sit Jefferson out, we don't want him to get hurt, but then the rest of the team is like, man, you know what I mean? Like, we're 4-4. We just had some inspirational wins. give us a chance. Let us get into the play. Maybe we could build some. You might find some other diamond in the roughs in this.
Well, they did. Addison is
Yeah.
a real. It's given him Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson being out injured has given him an opportunity to really shine.
It has, and he's
So,
been playing good. Yeah,
He's been
So,
playing really well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
Speedy recovery to
Absolutely. Yeah.
Kirk Cousins,
Kirk
but
Cousins, yeah.
he's paid. He's
Oh my
been
God.
he'll be okay. He'll be all right.
He can
will be
afford
in
the high milk price.
no soup kitchen. He will be in no soup
He'll
kitchen
be in no soup kitchen
while he's
unless
rehabbing.
he's serving. Right.
Right. Last but not least, we'll talk really quick about the Eagles. Eagles, some way, somehow, divisional win against Washington. I think they have a better divisional record than you. So that whole thing about you guys being the same, whatever, all of that comes into play. Even if they lose to you, they'll still be ahead. But we will confirm that if given their record and your record, if you win, who will be the number one in that division. But tough divisional win. What I think is encouraging for the Cowboy fans is if Howell could put up that many yards, Dak, if he is the man, if he's a $40 million quarterback, he should eat them alive. CD should have, because it seems like you can't run on them, but you can pass on the Eagles.
Definitely
So
Eagles.
you guys should really, Dak should have super impressive numbers next week or next Sunday.
Yeah, he should.
He should. It should be high 3s, low 4s, or better. And because look, Sam Howell just balled out. They looked pretty good. It came down to the wire, but ultimately, the Eagles find a way to win. And so shout outs to them. We play them in week 13. That should be interesting. But you guys got them this week. We're going to talk more about it on our next show.
Yes, we
but
are.
That's going to be an exciting game, man. That's going to be.
That's going
to be glued in front of the TV, Lord willing, watching that game.
Ooh, well, at least you be able to just sit back and chill and watch that.
Yeah, get to enjoy that. It should be really good. Shout outs to the producers bringing us on in. Shout out to Kingdom Creative for the production.
Right.
Awesome job. Shout out
Awesome job.
Kingdom Creative for the production. Shout out to Infinite Audio for the music. Great music. This isn't some run of the mill. This is all original tracks.
Yep.
The same music. Not the same. The same producer of this music produces for NBA TV, ESPN, all types of movies on Netflix and you name it, Apple TV, Infinite Audio. Check them out. Awesome.
See,
Rod, good show, man.
My God, good show, man. Good show.
Yeah.
Good show, man.
So
no
please
doubt.
join us next time. If you have any questions, comments, we appreciate everyone that joined us. It should be awesome, man. And this next show is going to be really good. We should have, hopefully, we're going to try to narrow down and lock in our guest, Scrap. He's our resident Eagles fan. Ooh, and I'm sure it's going to be an exciting show. But this is a big week. And if we could get Corey on, we'll try to get Corey.
Yeah, we'll try to get Corey back.
Miami in Kansas City, that's going to be a big game also. That's going to be big.
Big game.
But thanks for joining us. Until next time, everybody. Peace.
Peace.